Throughout music history, there's always been decade-defining rivalries between two of the decade's most influential figures, from Michael Jackson versus Prince, to Guns N' Roses versus Nirvana, to Madonna versus Cyndi Lauper, Janet Jackson, and even Cher at one point. And then there was Britney Spears versus Christina Aguilera. The two former Musketeers, who at one point were attached at the hip, had seemed to tether on the frenemies' hamster wheel for years. If we're having a conversation about who defined the early to mid-2000s, you can't go without mentioning Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. The two alone pushed the envelope, sound, and image of the era and redefined what it meant to be a pop star and female in the music industry. From iconic chart-topping songs and music videos to highly controversial yet still emulatable fashion choices, Britney and Christina were in a league of their own. A then 16-year-old Britney Spears debuted with Baby One More Time in late 1998, and Christina Aguilera followed right behind her in early 1999 with her major label self-titled debut album. Following that, Britney released her record-breaking sophomore album, Oops, I Did It Again, in 2000, and Britney in 2001. Christina followed that after her Christmas album and Spanish-language album, Mi Reflejo, with her career-defining Stripped album in 2002. The back and forth, at one point, which seemed sweet and supportive, and endearing considering that they'd known each other since childhood, took a turn for the shady and downright disrespectful. This is In the Mix. And in this episode, we'll travel down the Baby One More Time school hallways and unpack and explain Britney and Christina's complicated rivalry and relationship. Considering the first time Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera met at the tender age of 12 and 13, it's amazing to think how the two hadn't become the quintessential Hollywood BFFs. Call it Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. They both came from turbulent and domestically violent households, and at a very young age found solace in music and performance. They were literally born in the same month of December, and both over their careers experimented with different genres and collaborators. They both idolized Madonna and Whitney Houston. Ironic enough that they both end up performing with Madonna later down the line at the MTV VMA Awards in 2003. Whilst Britney met Houston backstage at the 1999 European MTV VMA Awards, and Christina would later go on to pay tribute to Houston at the 2000 BET Awards. By 2000, Britney was shattering sales and chart records left and right, making Billboard history and leading the revival of the teen pop wave as the new millennium began, while Christina's debut was scoring #1 status back-to-back, as well as becoming a new Grammy winner. After this, it seemed the rivalry and comparisons really kicked into high gear. They were both really young, blonde, had a legion of impressionable young girls and testosterone-filled boys hailing at their feet, and they were both the poster girls of pop music during the early 2000s. Whenever asked in an interview about each other, they always sung high praises for each other, which was admirable considering how young they were. Tensions would soon start to rise as 2002 was well underway, where Christina debuted the video for her new single from her album Stripped, Dirty. Fans and music critics alike started making comparisons between her and Britney's iconic video for Slave For You from her Britney album released the year prior. Aguilera would shake off the rumors repeatedly in a mature fashion for the most part. By mid-2003, while Christina was still riding high from the success of her Stripped album with the co-headlining tour featuring Justin Timberlake, Britney was gearing up to release the first single from her much-anticipated fourth album, In the Zone. So what better way to thrust yourself back into the spotlight and into the zeitgeist of the public than to open at the August 2003 Video Music Awards, with none other than Queen of Pop, Madonna, who was still heavily promoting her 9th studio effort, American Life, which came out earlier that year in April. And we all know how this tale goes. Spears and Aguilera enter center stage in bridal garments, paying homage to Madonna's iconic VMA performance from 1984. They both strip away their mesh adornments to reveal more skimpy all-white outfits, while Madonna, rising like a phoenix from a life-sized cake and decked out in a custom-made all-black tux, top hat included, and the three proceed to shimmy, gyrate, and tangle their way through a remix to Madonna's song, Hollywood. As they're already hooking their audience in, things heated up as Madonna and Britney swapped DNA via mouth, and Christina followed right after. The rest, as they say, is history. The world and the media went into a frenzy galore. Over the next few weeks, the media attention and scrutiny seemed to fall on Spears. Aguilera, who seemed to escape the media blitz unscathed, went on to comment in a Blender magazine article stating, "Britney had to kiss Madonna because she needed a gimmick. These people aren't artists. They're just performers. Fake and superficial, like the entire event. I'm very disappointed with MTV. Just look at the way they handled the kiss. Pan off to the ex-boyfriend to get his reaction. Predictable. Pathetic." Spears, who was later made aware of this whilst on appearance on TRL, went on to counter-argue that Aguilera agreed to the entire performance, kiss included. She further went on to state that she was just doing her job, and if the media wanted to misconstrue the narrative, then so be it. What went on to follow between the two former Musketeers was an array of interviews and article releases of the two blatantly or passively aggressively bashing each other. Aguilera even went as far as stating during an interview in early 2005 that she didn't know Spears or her ex Timberlake anymore, but she wished them the best. As the years would pass and their 2000s chart glory would falter, Britney's life and world would be turned completely upside down, and Aguilera would experience a set of professional and personal setbacks. Though both of their careers would experience major resurgence throughout the late 2000s to mid-2010s. However, when the two are asked about each other, or rumors of a collaboration would start to circulate, the two would always speak with enthusiasm, and even optimism. Whatever the case, we realize that these two prolific artists were a product of the same vile industry that manufactured a rivalry between Brandy and Monica, to the extent that things got physical. Yet, fans and music history still got a chart-topping, Grammy Award-winning song from the two, with The Boy Is Mine. So what's the best way you think the two pop stars can properly break bread? A summer banger in the form of a long overdue collaboration, or a versus battle for the music culture and fans alike? Comment what you think. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a comment, refer a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. This has been In the Mix.